board, please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. We have a busy night tonight, and for the invocation, I would just like to take this opportunity, since we're in the holiday season, to wish you all a very happy holiday, safe and prosperous New Year. And if you all take just one moment to offer your own intentions for a safe holiday season in a minute of silence. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Let the record show Councilman Pilavani is absent. Councilman Aragosa.
Here.
Councilman Godlewski.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosbowski. Here. Supervisor Ketzler.
Here. We have somewhat of a busy night tonight. We have the agenda up front. Welcome all of you again. It's a packed room. We always like to see that. We do have some celebrations tonight. We're going to be honoring the Burnt Hills Boston Lake Boys Cross Country Team for their accomplishments. We'll be promoting a sergeant tonight. And after the rest of the agenda, we'll be going to an executive session to discuss contract negotiations. So after item number 17, we'll go into executive session. We don't anticipate any further public business, so you can all stay if you like. We go in the other room and we come back out, but I wouldn't suggest it since we do not anticipate coming back into regular session after the executive session. So with that, I'll start with town council reports on my left. Councilman Godlewski.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, just one thing to report. I've had an opportunity to share this with you yesterday. With respect to the Yates Mansion project, you and I had talked, and I had reached out to our county clerk, John Woodward, seeking information on the history of Yates Mansion. And I received a package in the mail here at Town Hall yesterday or the day before, essentially with a chain of title and deeds going back to 1858, give or take. There's some cool stuff in here, particularly the deed transfer from 1858 is handwritten. It's a photocopy of the handwritten document. But he did point, he enclosed a very nice cover letter wishing us well with what he called a worthwhile project. Pointed us in the direction of Albany County prior to the 1850s when Schenectady County was incorporated, that they would be our keeper of records for that. I did reach out to a friend I have on the Town of Colony board who gave me a contact with the Albany County Clerk's office, so I do intend to reach out to them in the next couple of days. But I have the information. My guess is you're more organized than I am, so my intention was to give that to you tonight, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Appreciate the work on that, and I do agree it's a worthwhile project, so thank you. Councilwoman Rosbowski.
I don't have an official report. I just would like to wish the other board members and everyone here in the room a very Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. It's been a pleasure to work with you all this year.
Thank you. Councilman Aragosa.
Just on a couple subjects, Highway County wants us to all know that they're still working hard on leaves, and they're going to keep going as long as there's not snow cover. Probably even after that they'll try. The other thing, Monday night I had a meeting with the Glenville Environmental Conservation Commission. They're working hard on the solar regs for ground mounted solar, and they're also looking into this Wolf Hollow Bike Hike Trail project that they're excited about. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. This part has become kind of a habit for us annually, so that's very good. We're here tonight to honor and recognize the great work of the Burnt Hills Boston Lake 2018 Boys Varsity Cross Country Team. You guys had a great season. I know a few among you have had some highlights, winning the New York State Class B Championship at Sunken Meadow State Park on November 10th, where, let me see if I get this right. Tyler, you came in third?
First.
What's that?
First.
You came in first. It says here. So let's do this the easy way. You guys tell me what you did. Aiden, tell me fourth.
Yes.
All right, I got that right. Congratulations, Aiden. Evan came in ninth. And Nick Hager. What was that? Did he say, who did these numbers?
He's joking.
Oh, we got a prankster back there. Well, you guys had a great season, no question about it. We have a proclamation up here, which we're going to hand out to each of you. I'll read the proclamation quickly. And it says, whereas the Burn Hills Boston Lake 2018 Boys Varsity Cross Country Team of, and it lists the entire team, won the New York State Class B Cross Country Championship at Sunken Meadow State Park on November 10th, 2018, their third straight year, with the team scoring a state meet program low total of 22 points. And whereas the Burn Hills Boston Lake Boys Varsity Cross Country Team during their season won the following invitationals: Gilderland Invitational, Burnt Hills Cross Country Invitational, and Baldwinville Cross Country Invitational. And whereas the Burn Hills Boston Lake Boys Varsity Cross Country Team posted a Suburban Council dual meet record of 15-0. Did I get that right? 15-0. Give them a round of applause for being 15-0. And whereas the Burn Hills Boston Lake Boys Varsity Cross Country Team won their 20th Section 2 championship, their 8th state championship, finished second at the Nike Cross Country New York Regionals, earning a trip to the Nike Cross Country National in Portland, Oregon, where they placed 14th. And where the Burn Hills Boston Lake Boys Varsity Cross Country Team has exemplified the ideals of sportsmanship, cooperation, endurance, team effort, and dedication to their sport while achieving the success that they have with a grade point average of almost 95%. Give them a round of applause for that. Now therefore, by the power vested in me as the office of supervisor, Tom Glenville, I, Christopher Ketzley, do here proclaim today, Wednesday, December 19th, is Burnt Hills Boston Lake Boys Varsity Cross Country Day throughout the town of Glenville. Congratulations on your achievement. I think I told you guys all last time you were here that I used to run. I was a runner. I never had the grade point average of 95%, I can tell you that. But keep running, because if you don't, this is what you look like when you go middle-aged man. It's not pretty. But congratulations. How many of you seniors? Raise your hand. Wow. So next year, is the team going to face the challenge of having a lack of folks coming back? Or are you already, Coach, for next year?
Yes.
Yeah. How many of you guys are on scholarship for running? Any of you? You got 2 of you? 3 of you? Congratulations. Wow. Coach, what we can do, if you'd like to come up and say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulate Coach Button for his great work as well.
Ryan Allison, Tyler Berg, Kevin Board.
You're a man of few words. You can say a few words.
I'll get him up here.
All right, you're right to business. It doesn't matter here.
Kevin Brennan. Aiden Woodley. Nick Hunziker. David Metacarpa. Ryan Shepard. Zachary Scribner. Kyle Floyd. And Dante Rubiaco.
Come on, a short one? Oh, you got it. It's over there. Now, we're going to do something here if we can. First of all, let's get you, we're going to bring the board down in a minute. Can we like double up? We got some people want to stand and get tight. Board want to come down? Phil?
Tough, Chris. They're all small.
Yeah. We got no short ones.
So if I could just say a couple words, first of all, I mean, I'd like to thank the town for, recognizing us. I mean, I think it's really important, and, I mean, again, this is our third year in a row, but it doesn't get old. I mean, I think for me, the hard work that these guys put in, I can't, say that enough, and they actually really make my job look easy. I don't have to motivate them. They've been motivated for their whole careers. I mean, some of these guys started in 7th grade, 8th grade, and one of the big parts is that they run during the summertime, and they actually start from 2 different places. Sometimes from the high school, but then I think 3 days a week they start from Indian Meadows, and they run around there. So I think that's been a big part of our success, but really they put the hard work in over the summertime, and then they kind of reap the benefits during the rest of the year. And I mean, all cross-country runners work hard, but this is a really exceptional group in terms of what they've put in throughout their careers. So, and again, thank you for this.
Now, you guys want to anyone want to get pictures of the team? Someone can also get it for the town.
I got it, thank you.
Okay. I don't know if Aiden will admit this or not, but I think it was this past summer, I think Aiden, I saw you running around the neighborhood. Now, did you ever see me run around the neighborhood? Did you once? Okay. How did it look? Did it look like I was... Okay, all right. That's good. Once. Everybody get it?
One more. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you next year. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So we are back in session, and we are now on privilege of the floor. We have nobody signed up, but if anyone would like to speak at privilege of the floor, if you just raise your hand, we'll invite you up front. You can speak at privilege of the floor. Going once, going twice. Seeing on privilege of the floor is now closed. Next is the supervisor's comments to the board before we get to the swearing-in ceremony, so I'll be fairly brief, but I do want to, in the last meeting of the year, update the board on a few things, which is amazing how fast the year kind of went. It's like just yesterday. We have a tradition, all the new board members have to buy everybody drinks on the last meeting of the year.
My wife's working late, so if you want to.
There you go. Few quick things. It's that time of year, it's the holidays, but it's also tax season. And the town will have the tax bills out by the end of the year. One thing I just wanted to let the board know that this was the first year we actually brought the function of printing and doing all the bills in-house. We used to do it through a third-party vendor. First of all, we had issues with that third-party vendor over the past couple of times, and so we decided to bring it in-house and use our own talent. And not only did we do it cheaper, more efficient, and quicker, and we had a lot more control over the process, but our bills will actually be out in the mail on time for the first time in a couple of years. So I think kudos to our assessor, our receiver, our comptroller for all working together to get this done. I've been told that Glendale's become the model, and that now Scotia and a few other municipalities are going to copy what we did because it's cheaper and more efficient. So it's another example where Glendale kind of leads the way. And it's great staff we have that made that possible. I know it's on your calendars already, but the next meeting will be at January 2nd. That'll be the organizational meeting. If you all recall, that's the one where we have all the different appointments on different committees, have all those different resolutions. So that will be January 2nd. And since it wasn't, did we pass the resolution, or are we passing it tonight? For January 2nd to call that meeting. I have a copy, it was provided to me of the All Clause Hamlet Plan, which is a draft. It was done by the ARA. I've been working with the ARA on this. There's a variety of things in the plan. It isn't official yet, so they said it's a draft, but they do go over things like pedestrian safety, speed along the All Clause Avenue and Bruce Drive corridor, road conditions and drainage issues, connectivity with bike, walking path to the rest of Glenville, Scotia, and the Schenectady bike paths, improvements to properties, and other issues within the hamlet. So once this is final, we'll be delivering to the board. Obviously, we have to make sure it meshes with our comprehensive plan, but it's just kind of their formalized but informal vision of the hamlet for the town to consider as we go forward with what we're doing. So that should be coming early January, or by at least the second meeting in January. As we get to the end of the year, obviously our books stay open for a couple more months as we clean up, have bills to pay and things like that. But generally speaking, Jason reports that we should be running a surplus in our general and our outside, the village, both the A and B funds, at about somewhere just below $50,000 in each potentially. We are running a deficit, however, in the highway D fund at about $120,000 this year, which is significant. Most of that is a project on Style Lane that we've gotten into that is, unfortunately, the drainage is starting to collapse and the road is collapsing along with it. So like most projects you get into, the further you get into it, the deeper it goes. But it really needs a complete rebuild, and that's a $100,000 price tag, which is going to leave us in a deficit in that fund, which means we'll be dipping into fund balance for that, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Other than that, I don't think there's much more to report. Obviously, you all saw the Glenfield debacle. I feel badly. I just want to say publicly I feel badly that DOT was somewhat embarrassed by that. That was never the intent of calling attention to it. We're trying to have fun with that. DOT, I think, in the end appreciated that. But there was a mistake. The sign being placed on Route 5 coming in from Amsterdam to Glenville. And I just want to take this opportunity to really point out the phenomenal response of DOT. I've never in my wildest imagination would think I'd get a call from the assistant commissioner on a Sunday morning apologizing and having the sign removed on that very Sunday morning after they just saw it Saturday night on Facebook. So that was, I think, great work by DOT, and it should be acknowledged. I think that's really the story here, is how responsive DOT is. And as you all know, our chairman of the LDC is here tonight. He provided a report from the LDC. You all have that report. You all have a chance to read it. And at this time, there's probably a good opportunity if anyone has any questions for the chairman, Dick Eustace, from that report. Feel free right now to fire away. He's sitting there ready. Do you have any questions on the report? Dick, do you have anything you'd like to say to the board?
Yeah, I do. The board and our supervisor. This is my last year as a supervisor, as the chairman of the LDC. I'm going to step over and become treasurer for 2019. Why they trust me with that much money, I don't know. I told them I'd probably be in a new Jaguar headed for Florida. But anyway, the support we've gotten from you folks for the last 5 years since we were organized has been tremendous. Right? We started out with $565,000. We knocked out the whole thing. It's gone. Okay? The good news is that the repayments that are coming back in from those loans have now accumulated $170-some-odd thousand in our account, which is now not subject to all of the state of New York requirements that we were initially when the money was being loaned, right? So we got a $170,000 pot, and it grows at the rate of about $7,000 a month. There are opportunities there for people like yourselves, if you're thinking about a business in Glenville, if your uncle's got a business that is struggling a little bit and he needs to buy some new equipment, anything along those lines, come talk to us because we're really anxious to invest this money in the town of Glenville.
Do you invest in drainage?
Yeah,
You need $100,000.
yeah, we do. We drain the account once a month.
Thanks.
I wish, but yeah, at any rate, if there are projects out there that you're even thinking about, come and talk to us. Again, thanks to Chris and the town board for the support we've had. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all you've done, Dick. Lastly, just as the CFAs were awarded, you probably all know by now, we did receive a CFA $280,000 for our back truck. We did not get funded for some of the really important projects that we wanted. One was the bike trail, which is just astonishing to me, and the Mellow Park expansion wasn't funded either, which I had high hopes for. So we did okay, but we didn't do as well as we could have or should have. But there's always next year, and there's grants throughout the year that we're going to be looking at trying to work on that. But the priority will be really at this point, after being rejected 4 times, really now we're going to have to figure out how to get that bike trail done with working with the county and the village and ourselves to try to get that done. Any questions for me? Thank you. Okay, as we go back to the agenda, we have the next item, which is actually item number 7, a resolution appointing Casey Green to the position of sergeant in the Glenville Police Department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Just to start the discussion, as you see by the resolution, there's a vacancy in the Glenville Police Department for the position of sergeant. Interviews were conducted by the chief of police with the 3 candidates from the certified civil service list, resulting in Officer Casey Green, one of the eligible officers for appointment from that list, was selected for the position by the chief. And whereas the chief of police hereby recommends that the promotion be approved by the town board, and this town board does hereby authorize the chief of police to appoint Officer Casey Green to the position of sergeant in the police department effective December 23rd, 2018, and that compensation will go forward with that promotion to the position of sergeant. And therefore, resolved, the town board does hereby authorize and direct to notify said officer of such appointment. So that's the resolution. Any questions or comments?
I would just like to say congratulations to Casey. Had the pleasure of getting to know him a little bit during the ride-along we've done over the last year or so. And I think you're a fine officer. I think you represent the town and your department very, very well. And I'm pleased that you will be stepping into this role. And I'm excited to see all the great things that you do. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Any other questions or comments? Well, again, congratulations. We're proud of you. It seems like yesterday we were just swearing in as officer. You don't look any older. Seeing no other questions or comments, please call the roll.
Councilman Aragosa?
Aye.
Councilman Gottlieb?
Congratulations, yes.
Councilwoman Brzezowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Capson?
Yes, resolution passes. Congratulations. We're going to do a swearing-in ceremony, Casey, so if you and your family, chief would like to come up. Chief, would you like to say a few words?
Certainly. Thank you. Just like to recognize who Casey brought with him this evening for the ceremony. Brought his wife Anna, his son Finn, his mom Sue Green, dad Clark Green, Teresa McCrum, who was Casey's stepmom, and his grandmother Connie are all here tonight. So welcome and thank you for coming. We appreciate you being in the crowd here this evening. Casey started with the police department in July of 2012. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to be on the interview committee at that time. And it's a surprise to me sometimes when you see an officer grow through the department and see how they progress in their career. And I remember when Casey was first interviewed, he told us that his profession was electrician. So a lot of times as we're doing these interviews and we're talking to these officers and we're deciding on who we want to bring along and hire with the Glenville Police Department, I said, well, I could probably use an electrician in my house from time to time, so it's definitely going to be a good choice for me. But no, to be serious, it was a pleasure to see someone who chose a field, that probably chose a career that they loved and enjoyed, but then decided to change their career. And to be very honest, I'm very pleased to see how you progressed through your career here, Casey. Another thing to say is that during the interviews for the sergeant position, one thing that I did notice when I interviewed the 3 candidates on the civil service list is that all 3 candidates would have told me they would be happy if Casey got the promotion. So that was good to see too from the other candidates. Not only were they excited about being interviewed, but they also looked forward and told me they were going to look forward to working with and for Casey when he was made sergeant, when I did notify him about the decision. So that makes me very happy, very proud. I just wanted to also to say that Casey lives in town. He's one of our residents, live on Sandalwood, and it's another thing that we're proud of, that most of our officers do live in the town where we work, and to make Casey, to promote Casey this position is a great step for the town and for the police department. So I just want to say congratulations.
So we're going to do this swearing in, but we're going to turn you around because the camera's that way.
Yeah.
You know, in my line of work, you always know where the camera is, okay?
Yeah.
So people want to see that. So who's going to hold the Bible? You want to hold it? There you go.
Turn.
There you go. So, Casey, please raise your right hand. Just repeat after me. I, Casey Green,
I, Casey Green,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution
that I support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and the laws of the State of New York,
and the laws of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of sergeant
the duties of sergeant
with the police department
with the police department
of the town of Glenville
of the town of Glenville
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Can we get a picture of the board and your family? Sure.
I will say just thank you everybody who came. I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me, so thank you everybody.
First grade.
Gotcha.
We are going to reconvene down at the flight line, so if you guys get out of the meeting and want to come down and celebrate a little bit with us, that's what we'll do. Thank you.
I know you guys really want to stay, but if you want to leave, now's a good time. All right, so we're back on the agenda, which is item number 8, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract with Yeager and Flynn regarding the administration of employee benefits and related professional services for 2019. Do I have a motion? Second.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Pretty much.
still
Yeah.
management.
We talked about it at the work session, so without any other questions or comments, please record the vote.
Councilman Yarborough.
Yes.
Councilman Goddowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes.
Supervisor Capson.
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution is Resolution 9, approving the 2018 budget amendments. Do I have a motion?
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second, and just for discussion, we talked about this as well. Every year, at the end of the year, we have to make the different appropriations and changes to the different funds based on, the difference between a budget and what really happens through the year. If you ever want to take a minute to kind of just peruse that again, if you have any questions, either Jason or myself, just let me know.
Anything like totally unexpected in this, or is it all pretty standard fare?
It's pretty much all standard fare. We don't really touch additional fund balance except for a couple very small districts. Where we had unexpected repairs that are large for those districts. You'll see some of the things, the buildings and grounds on the first page. We had expected to do some things maybe in the town hall area, but instead we renovated the highway garage. So we're just moving money around.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is, moving money around.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Jason, for making this so easy to understand.
Seeing none other, please record the vote.
Councilman Yarborough.
Yes.
Councilman Goddowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes.
Supervisor Capson.
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, 10, authorizing the town comptroller to enter into a 60-month lease agreement with Metroline Business Machines for a mailing machine. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Again, just to start the conversation, we have a mailing machine here. Obviously, we handle a lot of mail, and that has lived its life, 5 years now.
That machine's about 8 years old.
8 years, 8 years old, even longer. And so this is a new lease for a brand new Metroline Business machine that would authorize the lease for $129 at monthly cost, which is a savings of 21% compared to the existing lease. And it's a 60-month lease. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Yarborough.
Yes.
Councilman Goddowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes.
Supervisor Capson.
Yes, resolution passes. The next two resolutions deal with the solar projects that are happening within the town and part of partnership with the county. I know we have someone from GE here tonight. Maybe before, this is just calling for a public hearing, but if you're prepared or you're up for it, maybe you want to just present the board a few kind of update and take some questions on the project, if you don't mind. I don't know if that puts you on the spot, but.
No.
Has some information for you guys as well, just gonna pass it down. So you grab the top one, sorry. Try to speak, sorry. Hi, so I'm Kim Sophia from GE Solar. I'm just here to give you guys a little update on 2 of the projects that are going through for the Schenectady County Solar Consortium. So we're working with several of the different AHJs in the area to basically put on several solar sites throughout the county of Schenectady. And there's 2 projects that, after working through about 22 different sites in the county, that are still active and viable for the Glenville area. So those 2 sites, one is the Glenville landfill on 156 Fair Height Road, and then the other site is on the Van Buren Road off of Pump House Road. So just to give you guys a little bit of an update on what these projects are, we've done site surveys, we've done going through the planning board process, and just basically getting through all of the site diligence to make sure that these sites are still viable from a buildability standpoint. And so we're at the point now where we're starting to get feedback from National Grid, which will basically provide us with the update as to how much it could cost for us to interconnect the sites. So once we know all of that, in the next probably about a month or so, we're gonna come back to you guys and let you know what your potential PPA rate would be, what your lease rate will be, and everything like that. So I just wanted to give you a high-level update where we are with the projects, and just take any questions that anyone might have at this point.
Anyone have a question?
Not at this moment.
So right now, from our perspective, the planning board has looked at this and gave it preliminary on site approval.
Correct.
We we had a work session last week, and our town attorney had mentioned to us that, you know, we would really need to exempt ourselves from at least one of the projects.
Well, actually both projects.
Both projects.
Because in the case of the Bar High Road site, even though it's a landfill, it's within the rural residential agricultural district, which under current solar laws, Councilman Haragosa knows, they're not permitted there. So by exempting this project from the zoning law, which a municipality can do, but in order to do it, it's recommended by the Department of State and case law that we do a balancing of public interests. And so that's why we have the public hearing, give the public an opportunity to weigh in on whether they too feel that it's in the public interest, and there's probably a lot of good reasons why this board could make that finding, since it's a community solar project. But we need to hear from the residents. And on the other side, that zoning would permit large-scale solar projects. The issue there is that it would require a conditional use permit. So we would be exempting this project from requirement going through the conditional use permit process. And so that then we would only need to complete the site plan review processes for these two sites, and then we would be clear to go. Assuming that this board makes the finding after the public hearing that it is in the public interest that we exempt the project from our zoning law.
So for timeline, are we setting this public hearing for
January 2nd.
Which is our organizational meeting? We theoretically could act that night if there wasn't really much public concern over it. If it's not too difficult for you, we'd probably be moving it to the 19th, what is the next one? 16th, for passing that resolution.
Okay.
You had requested I sign something for NYSERDA. Is that a problem?
We should be able to deal that in January. So
Okay.
that I would prefer for you guys to follow your procedures and make sure that is as best that we can do at that point. However, I mean, we need to lock in the incentive as soon as possible. So once we already go beyond that, you know, we'd want to see what we can do.
We could have the resolution ready on the 2nd, and if there wasn't any outcry, again, you know, it wasn't anything controversial, we would probably act on it on the
Okay.
2nd. If there's
That works.
someone came in and had a problem, then maybe it would be moved to this
Okay.
time. I think that would work.
Sure.
Anything else? Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So we'll move resolution 11, which is scheduling a public hearing for the 2nd for the Bar Road site. Do I have a motion?
So
Do I have a second?
A second.
Moved in second. We kind of went over what this is on the public hearing for that night. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Yarborough.
Yes.
Councilman Goddamowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzler.
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 12, scheduling a public hearing on the same night, same time, same place for the Van Buren Lane site. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Yarborough.
Yes.
Councilman Goddamowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzler.
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, which is authorizing to hire 2 seasonals for this season. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second. Moved in second, any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this resolution, should it pass, would be in order to provide for maintenance and supervision of Indian Meadows Park and its skating rinks during the winter months. Seasonal recreation attendants are annually employed by the town, as you are aware. This resolution would authorize the Director of Human Services to employ 2 seasonal recreation attendants for the time period of December 22nd, 2018 through March 31st, 2019, for the workload between the 2 positions of not more than 40 hours per week in total at the budgeted rate of $12.50 per hour with no benefits.
Thank you. We have a motion. I was just reminded from the clerk, talking to Vicki just recently on this. So we're having a little bit of a problem with finding, this has to do with the labor law issue and how old people are and 18 to work or more than 4 hours. And so we're trying to find 18-year-olds. It's really not working, and so we find that there's a bunch of 17-year-olds, high school seniors, who are interested. And so what that would mean is we'd have to break up the shifts, so they can't work more than 4 hours on a school night. So we were just thinking that 2 seasonals might be restrictive. We would keep the hours and the per hour, everything, the budget would be the same, but we would split the shifts up and authorize up to 3. So the amendment would be, I have a motion for amendment up to 3 seasonal attendants as opposed to 2. We feel like 2 is too restrictive if we're going to use 17-year-olds. Use isn't the right word. Employ 17-year-olds.
I'll make the motion to amend the resolution on the floor.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. And so now we're on the amendment to just change from employ 2 seasonals to employ 3 seasonals. Any questions or comments?
Vicki, do you have kids that are ready to work?
I only have 1 application so far.
Okay.
I think because it's seasonal and the hours aren't guaranteed, it's a matter that the ice conditions are right.
But we do find that we've heard from high school students interested where before they weren't considered, because we're trying to
Right.
get 18 just for the hours. No other questions or comments? Please call the vote.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes, so, I'm sorry, the amendment passes, so we are on resolution 13A as amended. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 14, setting the time and date for the annual organizational meeting for January 2nd, 2019, 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. Do I have a motion?
So
Second.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Self-explanatory. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record.
Yeah, if I could I just briefly comment, just as a reminder, if we could get, if the resolutions, or even not necessarily the final resolutions, but if there's committee seats being filled, names, the sooner that that information can be dispensed, the better. I know that my only concern with the second is that it's the day after a holiday, and we have holidays coming up, obviously, so I just don't want to get lost in the shuffle and we get it the day of. So the sooner the better, just a friendly reminder.
Yes, and I appreciate that. The clerk and I spoke today about the daunting task of getting together, I think with only 3 business days left, an extremely large agenda. So it is a big undertaking, particularly when we're trying to fill all the committees. We're still trying to get people to respond if they're interested in coming back to the committee.
Yeah.
So we will work as best we can, but just please understand that it's a big undertaking. I think the clerk can attest to it.
Yeah, I don't normally email them, because there's like 45 resolutions, so I can email you when the packets are in your mail bin.
Yeah,
Get them in by Friday.
Yeah, that's fine. The sooner, even if it's not a final, document and there's still tweaks being made, that's fine. But if there's something that we can look at, just so it's not, it's a lot of information to try and process. It's not in a matter of hours. So.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 15, approving the town board minutes for November 21st. Resolution. I'll move for a second.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Self-explanatory, Mr. Supervisor, the town board minutes are dispensed through our emails. We've received them, and I would thank Ms. Niels and her staff for preparing them for us.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? See none. Please call the roll.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Capson?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 16, approving the monthly departmental reports for November 2018. Do you have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this would approve the monthly reports for the month of November from the cited departments for the town. They're dispensed through email. We'll have a chance to review them at this point.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Please call the roll.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Capson?
Yes, resolution passes. Last item on the agenda before the executive session is new business, and I'll start on my right. Councilman Aragosa.
I have nothing at this time.
Councilman Godlewski.
Merry
Council.
Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year to all present.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
I have nothing except maybe, perhaps, because I was going to do an article about this evening's meeting, maybe they could put a little plug in for seasonal workers who are looking for applications. Make note that we have 3 positions open, that would be awesome. Up to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't have nothing, really anything other than, again, a happy holidays to everybody. It's been a great, I think it's been a great year. I've enjoyed the relationships I think we've forged on board here. New Year, just, we weren't sure how this was gonna go, but I think it's been good. I've enjoyed most of it. Councilman Godlewski only irritated me 3 times, but that's all right.
Well, I'll try to do better next year.
But I've enjoyed the year, and I thank you all. We do have executive session we'll go to, but again, we don't anticipate coming back out and doing any other public business, so you are free to go, but you are also welcome to stay. So with that, we will go entertain a motion for executive session to discuss contract negotiations. Second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Executive session.